On Monday, one of John's top strategists told the Washington Post, and I quote, "We're looking forward to turning a page on this financial crisis." Well, guess what? He didn't mean solving the crisis. He meant ignoring it and attacking Barack Obama. That's what he meant. Well, folks, most Americans don't have the luxury of ignoring this economy, ignoring the cost of gasoline, of groceries, of tuition, of health care, of whether or not you can simply pay your mortgage. We don't think you can turn the page until we have a leader with the ideas how to write a better ending to this story than the ones being written now. Folks, when McCain's guys start saying things like, "What, we want to turn the page," you know where they're going. You've seen it before. They're going to try to take a very low road to the highest office in the United States of America, the highest office in the land. And that's exactly what they're doing. A recent analysis of all the campaign advertising out there showed that 100% of the advertisements John McCain's campaign is running now, 100% are negative, attacking Barack Obama. Not one positive add-on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess when you vote with George Bush 90% of the time, your best hope is to attack 100% of the time, because you have no option in defending where you've been the last 8 years. Folks, don't be distracted by all of this. Don't be distracted. These attacks don't hurt Barack Obama or me. They hurt you. They hurt the American people. Every single false charge and baseless accusation is an attempt to get you to stop paying attention to what's going on in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, all of the things they said about Barack Obama in rallies and on TV before the debate, and all of the things that they're saying right now after the debate, John McCain couldn't bring himself to look Barack Obama in the eye and say at the debate. And folks, in my neighborhood where I came from, you got to say something to a man, look him in the eye and say it to him. Look, beyond these attacks, what is John McCain really offering beyond these attacks? What about the past 8 years? Would he change? Literally, think about it, I mean literal now. What fundamental change? What literally would he do differently in the next 4 years that hasn't been done in the last 8? You got it. Nothing. Nothing. Look, you can't change the next 4 years. If you stood with George Bush the last 8 years calling for the privatization of Social Security, you can't change the next 4 years. If you stood with George Bush when he blocked our efforts to provide health care for an additional 3.8 million children, ladies and gentlemen, you can't change the next 4 years if you simply continue George Bush's shoot first and ask questions later foreign policy. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it, literally. You can't change the next 4 years if you believe that we should still be spending, after 6 years, $10 billion a month in Iraq when they have a $78 billion surplus. Ladies and gentlemen, Barack Obama and I will end this war. Hear me. We will end this war. Folks, look, you can't change our approach on global warming. As my opponent indicated in our debate, and I'm paraphrasing her, you're not quite sure what the cause is. As my little 10-year-old granddaughter said to me, "Pop, whoa, whoa." Look, folks, you can't change the lives of the struggling middle class who have been beat up the last 8 years. You can't change it when there's no difference between you and the President of the United States and what you would do on the things that really matter to people. You know, to paraphrase my good friend Senator Bob Casey from my hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, he said, "You can't call yourself a maverick if all you've been is a sidekick." John McCain has voted for George Bush's budgets. John McCain has supported him 90% of the time. And folks, John McCain's campaign has literally become erratic, relying on political stunts instead of offering real solutions. Folks, look at how John McCain has responded to the current economic crisis. Literally now, at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, September the 15th, when the bottom was falling out of the market, John McCain said on that morning, "The fundamentals of our economy are strong." At 11 a.m., 2 hours later, John McCain said, same day, he said, "We're in the midst of a great economic crisis." Now, folks, that's what we Catholics call an epiphany. An epiphany. You know, I'm serious. Think about it. What happened in 2 hours? What happened? You know, a president is supposed to need to lead. All great presidents, including your great president from Missouri, Harry Truman, they instill confidence. It's about confidence. You know, someone said to me the last stop, he said, "Give him hell, Joe." I said, no. Remember that phrase from Harry Truman? Someone yelled at the end of his campaign, "Give him hell, Harry." He said, "No, I'm just going to tell them the truth. They're going to think it's hell." Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth today. Ladies and gentlemen, presidents instill confidence. What did John McCain learn in 2 hours that turned the fundamentals from sound into a crisis? Did John McCain realize in that 2-hour period that the median income for folks in Missouri families had dropped by over $7,000 in the last 8 years? Did John McCain realize that our economy had lost for 8 straight months jobs, and now the 9th month we've lost more than 750,000 jobs beginning in January of this year? And right here in Missouri, 16,000 people have lost their jobs. Or did John all of a sudden realize that the premiums people were paying for their health care have doubled over the past 8 years? Did he realize that this economic crisis is the final judgment and verdict on the paucity of the economic policy of this administration for the last 8 years? Ladies and gentlemen, what did he see? What did he see? Did the archangel come down and tell him all these things? Folks, did he realize that we can't afford 4 more years? 4 more years of the same? Well, folks, the problem with John's epiphany is not that he saw the light. He saw the presidency receding from his grasp. That's what he saw. That's what he saw. We got to move this along, I say to folks back in the back room. We got to move this along. The financial crisis has wiped out let me say this now, $2 trillion from people's retirement funds. That's what this Congressional Budget Office just wrote. $2 trillion. Pray God it will come back. But right now, $2 trillion that people are relying on to retire has been wiped out of their 401ks. That doesn't even count how many of you and how many folks in my hometown were relying on the value in their home, the equity in their home, as either necessary to be able to send their kid to college or that was going to be part of their retirement. You heard Debbie talk about her home. They were going to downsize. One of the reasons you downsize is take that extra money that you were going to make in the process and invest it in your retirement. Well, folks, Barack Obama said, and this is critical, it's not only important that we get ourselves out of this economic crisis, what we need a wholesale change in our economic philosophy. Again, that change is not going to come from John McCain, as good a man as he is. Ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday night, the debate, John McCain said, speaking of lurching, he was going to spend, he had a new idea. Sarah Palin says, you know, I was in second grade when Joe Biden was elected to the United States Senate at age 29. That's true. But she was in sixth grade the last time John had a new idea. Look, folks. Look, folks. Look, folks. What did John announce on Tuesday night? A new idea. You know, John suspended his campaign to go home and solve this crisis, remember? Yeah, I remember that too. Then, so John said, new idea. On Tuesday night, he said he was going to spend $300 billion of your hard-earned tax money to buy from banks mortgages that they now own. He was going to buy them originally, which made sense, it's already in the law, at market value, meaning that if the house would sell for $100,000, even though the mortgage is $150,000, we'd buy it at $100,000, and the bank would have to eat the $50,000 because they are the ones who are greedy going out bundling these loans. Then John said he had to clarify the plan on Wednesday morning. He clarified it in saying, when we pointed out that we already can do that, we already gave. No, seriously. That's one of the things Barack supported and I supported in this so-called recovery plan. We already gave hey guys, I know you're all out there. We already gave the Secretary of Treasury the ability to do that. But Don, when that was pointed out, John said, no, I really have a really new idea. Not a joke, I'm not making, this is stranger than fiction. So what did John McCain say Wednesday morning? He put on his website, no, we're going to, in fact, let banks spend, we're going to spend $300 billion of your money to allow banks to go out and buy these bad mortgages at not market value, but face value. So that, in fact, if there was $150,000 owed on the mortgage, we'd buy it for $150,000. So the banks wouldn't lose a single penny, not a penny. So folks, instead of forcing companies like Countrywide to modify their loans so they didn't lose everything, to sit down and negotiate and reduce the principal and reduce the interest, so they took the hit. They took the hit for their greed and their risky behavior and demand that they help families stay in their homes. Instead of that, John's plan gives these companies no incentive at all to help these families. Because if the government's going to take your money and go ahead and buy from Countrywide all those bad loans so they don't lose a penny, why would they go out and sit down and negotiate with people who are strapped to lower their mortgage payment and lower the thing? Ladies and gentlemen, the one new idea John came up with is a very bad idea. A very bad idea. Ladies and gentlemen, John McCain's campaign continues to lurch, as my grandpa would say, from pillar to post, trying to convince you they're capable of dealing with these serious problems. In a matter of months, even days, actually even hours, the McCain campaign has gone from cutting consumer protections, shredding regulations to let the free market work, ignoring banks and the lenders, next stage. Then they went to talking tough about banks and lenders and greed. Then they actually wanted to reward banks and lenders for their greedy behavior. What's next? Where do they go next? The latest proposal is not only bad for taxpayers, it's bad. It's bad for homeowners. It's bad for the economy. $300 billion is a lot of money where I come from. And guess what? It can be used for a lot better purposes. And here's the purpose we want to use whatever money available to us is. The only way we get out of this economic crisis, folks, is to rebuild the middle class. The only way the wealthy get wealthy is that the middle class is strong. The only way the poor get help is that the middle class is growing. And the middle class is in trouble now. We're running to restore the middle class in America. That's what this is about. That's who we are.